So let's talk about whole brain states real quick and brain coherence and how that plays together. So being in a whole brain state allows communication between the hemispheres and the different compartments of your brain. What you're really doing is bringing all the different compartments of the brain, all the different areas, into the same brainwave state. So if it's in a high alpha state, we want everything in a high alpha state. If you're in meditation or going into sleep, you want every area in that same brainwave sleep because you'll function better. Even in sleep, one of the reasons why people don't get very good sleep is because one area will be in a different state, right? It'll be in a different brainwave state, alpha, right? What is there? There's beta, alpha, theta, gamma, and then there's things on either end of that. But if you're not coherent in a brainwave state throughout the whole brain, you're going to run into issues. It's going to cause incoherence in the system. And so we want the brain to be coherent. One of the ways you can get the brain coherent is by sitting in that crossover pattern that we use to get into a whole brain state. Forgiveness will actually put you in a whole brain state. And I think we've played with that a little bit too. Forgiveness is a huge one that'll help throw you into a whole brain state. You can do more than one thing at a time. You could sit in the crossover pattern, putting yourself in a whole brain state, and do forgiveness. So it activates it a little bit deeper. It activates it a little bit more. Brain coherence does not necessarily cause heart coherence. All right, so when the brain is coherent, it doesn't necessarily mean that your heart's coherent. If your heart's coherent, it forces brain coherence. It causes brain coherence. So when your heart is coherent, your brain gets coherent too. It has to, because your heart sends the signal to the brain, not the other way around. So understanding that heart coherence causes brain coherence, it even more makes sense to stay in your heart space, to work, do things out of your heart. We do brain coherence first and get into that whole brain state first to start releasing things of the subconscious mind. If your subconscious is packed full of information that is of your past and basically unusable, it's giving you false representation about who you are as a person, we want to release that first so that when you are in heart coherent state, you don't have to fight through the junk in your subconscious mind. Okay, does that make sense? Now, on top of all of that, we're feeling for vibrations. Thank you, Carlos, thank you. On top of all of that, we're feeling for these vibrations. We want to feel the vibration, and how we normally teach it is feel it. If we're talking about manifestation, feel the vibration of the thing that you're trying to manifest. If I'm in full alignment, and just kind of think through this with me for a second. If we're in full alignment, my brain is coherent, my heart's coherent, and we've done some work in the energy system centers of the body, right? The chakras, the idea of the chakras. If those are all coherent and lined up, everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be, the vibration itself that you're producing is different, and it's a level of gratitude, it's a level of love, but it's a different level when the system's coherent than when you're trying to force love or you're trying to force gratitude. So if I'm out of coherence, I can still be grateful, but it's not going to be the same vibrational constitution that it would be if I am in coherence. Does that make sense? So that's why we want to be coherent in every area or every system of our body.